Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled The Coaching Hire That Quietly Rewired College Football. In the year 2000, one ACC program made a coaching decision that looked completely normal. No scandal, no controversy, no national outrage. But that decision quietly shifted conference power, accelerated realignment, and reshaped who holds leverage in college football today. And here's the part most people still miss. This wasn't Florida State. This wasn't Clemson. This wasn't Miami. This was NC State. Why this mattered nationally before any timeline. This wasn't just about wins. This decision changed which programs stabilized early, which ones fractured under pressure, and who negotiated from strength once money, lawsuits, and Super League threats arrived. Because in an alternate universe where NC State passed on Chuck Amato, they didn't just avoid a coach, they redirected instability. And in college football, instability never disappears, it just finds a new host. The first redirection, Amato goes somewhere else. In this universe, Chuck Amato doesn't land in Raleigh, he lands at Virginia Tech, on paper logical. Same blue collar identity, same defensive culture, similar expectations, but culture fit isn't branding. And Virginia Tech doesn't implode, it hesitates. Wait, this is where it breaks. Because while Virginia Tech is recalibrating, NC State does something that doesn't feel dramatic at all. And that's the most dangerous kind of move. The quiet home run hire, Ralph Friedgen to NC State. NC State hires Ralph Friedgen. No fireworks, no splashy headlines, no savior narrative. Instead, they hire structure. Friedgen doesn't build peaks, he builds floors. And floors change power more permanently than peaks ever do. Consequence number one, NC State stops fluctuating. By the mid-2000s, NC State stops being streaky, recruiting stops resetting every cycle, coaching continuity becomes an expectation, not a hope. They don't dominate, they stabilize. And that matters more than anyone realizes yet. Because now the ACC has a program that does not need chaos to compete. Consequence number two, Virginia Tech loses timing. Back in Blacksburg, Amato isn't a disaster, he's worse. He's fine. But fine costs Virginia Tech something critical. Defensive sharpness stalls. Recruiting momentum stalls. Conference positioning slips just enough. Virginia Tech doesn't collapse, it misses its window. And someone else quietly fills the space they were supposed to occupy. Consequence number three, the ACC rebalances early. This is where the ACC changes trajectory. With NC State stabilized and Virginia Tech misaligned, Florida State loses its monopoly sooner. Clemson feels pressure earlier. The league stops being top heavy ahead of schedule. And that triggers panic, not at the top, but in the middle. Maryland panics because they know what they lost. In real life, Maryland got Friedgen. In this universe, they don't. And they can see exactly where that alternate future went. Maryland isn't angry, they're anxious. Facilities upgrades don't fix it, branding doesn't fix it. And you can bet coaching churn doesn't fix it. So they start shopping for security instead of success. The Big Ten enters early and quietly. This is where the Big Ten enters the story earlier than expected. Not with conquest, with spreadsheets. Maryland flirts sooner, negotiates sooner, leaves sooner. And the ACC does something that matters later. They don't panic because NC State already replaced Maryland structurally. Consequence number four, The ACC learns not to blink. Maryland's exit becomes a stress test, and the ACC passes. Not because it's richer, not because it's louder, but because it had enough internal stability to survive losing a market. That lesson changes how the league behaves when pressure escalates later. Enter the SEC, not with force, but patience. As NIL accelerates and lawsuits stack up, the SEC doesn't rush, it watches, because fractured leagues negotiate badly, and leagues with one or two stabilizers, they hesitate just long enough to be influenced. NC State becomes something unexpected. Here's the twist. NC State never threatens to leave, never flirts publicly, never leads a revolt. Instead, it becomes the quiet stabilizer, the program that argues for structure over spectacle, playoff access over brand favoritism, cohesion over chaos. Not power through dominance, power through credibility. Playoff governance wars and the swing vote. When playoff governance turns into a Cold War, the SEC wants control, the Big Ten wants leverage, the ACC wants survival. NC State doesn't shout, it votes. And in a sport defined by extremes, the middle becomes decisive. The real question, uncertainty, not conclusion. So what did that 2000 decision actually do? Did NC State save the ACC or just delay its fracture? Did Virginia Tech lose a decade or avoid a worse collapse? Did Maryland leave too early or exactly when it had to? And did the SEC win or simply wait better than everyone else? Because the most dangerous decisions in college football aren't the loud ones. They're the quiet ones that decide who still has choices when the pressure arrives. If you want more alternate histories like this, where one decision quietly reshapes everything downstream, hit like so this reaches the right people. If you think NC State delayed the inevitable, or if you think they saved the ACC longer than anyone expected, drop a comment. I read all of them. And if you want more consequence-driven college football stories, subscribe. Because the most important moments in the sport usually don't look important until it's too late.